Open composition monochromatic painting. Begin by painting the background. I'm right now putting down a base layer of white just so I have some wet paint to blend into. So I'm painting the whole foreground of the table surface, continuing to add more white as needed to get the value that I want. I go in and I'm mixing the background color, which to me is a dark background, so I'm going in and painting it. It's much easier to paint the background first because then you can paint the foreground objects on top of the background. Next, I'm going to start painting the shadows because they are still part of the background as well. They are on top of the actual table surface, but they are still behind the objects. As you paint, consider using the best brush for the job. So I was using the largest brush I could for the given area, but now that I've switched to smaller detailed areas, I've switched to a smaller brush as well. Try to also focus on painting in the direction of the object. So my table surface is kind of going left to right. So I'm trying to paint left to right as much as possible. It's a little bit hard when these tiny little shadow areas, but I'm still trying to paint in that direction if possible. Once you've painted the entire background, you're going to start painting the foreground. Just like you did with the background, you want to put a little bit of paint down on the surface so you can blend into it. I like to work light to dark, so I put the white paint down first, and then I'm working quickly by blending a darker value into the light value. This is a little bit of a back and forth process, as you have to add a little bit more light and then a little bit more dark and kind of just go back and forth until you get it right. As stated before, you're painting everything based on its relationship to something else. This is easily gauged for me in my painting because my table surface is the brightest and the background is the darkest. So I know that everything within the actual objects need to fit within that range of light to dark, and I need to have a full range of those values. While you're painting, you're going to come up with your own painting style, your own handwriting. Mine will be very different from yours, and yours will be different from someone else's, and that's perfectly okay. You're doing the best that you can, and you're trying to get it smooth, but still within your own handwriting. As you paint the objects, you want to paint in the direction of the object. So if my object is round, I need to paint rounded. If it's a flat object, I need to paint flat. So go, and that's what develops your volume. So if I'm painting up and down, it's going to look just flat. But if I'm painting with a curve to it, it will look rounded. You may have to paint in more than one direction to fully develop that volume. Don't be afraid of going back and forth into your painting. If you find that one area isn't dark enough, paint a little bit darker. If you find that it's now too dark because something else is lighter, then you may have to go in and adjust it again. The little details are what will help you the most. So don't forget the littlest highlights and the littlest shadows. These are just as important as anything else.